Welcome back to another episode of Champ Talk with Branden Hudson. I am your host, Branden Hudson. This episode is brought to you by Smoke Art. They're located off of South Division Drive or Eastern Shore Drive. It turns into the same drive, but it's over there by the shopping complex where Mitchell's Martial Arts and there's a cake place over there. Should have known all this stuff ahead of time, but shout out to Smoke Art. Thank you for all your support. And this episode is brought to you by them. If you get value out of this video and you think somebody else would get value out of this video, please share this, like, subscribe, hit the thumbs up, love it, all of that good stuff. The more that you engage with this podcast and our show, the more that it gets ranked up and people can see this. Also, if you're on Apple, iTunes, or Apple Podcast, they always change it all the time. Make sure you go in and leave a review. That, again, helps this podcast get seen, and we only want it if you're getting value out of that. And obviously, if you think somebody else would love it, please share it. Like our Facebook page and like all that. So I have a special guest today. You know what I mean? Somebody that I admire in the community. Somebody I admire his work ethic. Somebody I admire his hustle. We've gained quite a solid relationship here over the course of the past few years. He's done some work for SBY MMA. Just an all around great guy. I admire the hell out of him. I love what he's doing. He is an entrepreneur at the heart of it. You know what I mean? So he's got his hands in many things, and we'll talk about that. But I'd like to introduce my man Jordan Ray. Jordan, how are you?
Thank you, man. I appreciate the introduction. I'm doing well.
Good.
This gym used to be completely different from when I last saw it. So it's good to see it in a full form podcast studio and just being here. So thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Yeah. This was the overflow room when Pure had the upstairs, and I just got it a part of the deal. And it dawned on me one day, like, I need to make this a thing because I don't have any privacy. So I created the first half of it, my office, right? The second half is where we do our trainings and consultations. And then the third half is it wouldn't be second halves and third halves.
Yeah.
The back third of it is basically the Champ Talk studio. So we've came a long way. You know what I mean? It's been a great ride, and we have our we don't know what they identify, but they like to be unannounced. But our GIMP in the box, that's the person behind the camera. You know what I mean? We only break them out when it's time. We only break they out when it's time.
Okay.
And I just don't want nobody stealing the person, right?
Yeah,
so we got to give all credit and all props to that person. Notice I'm very good about my gender affiliation, my pronouns, because I don't want to offend that person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But when we get done, they will get back in the box. You know what I mean? And we'll lock them up, and then they'll we'll feed them and do things like that. So a little weird for your audience. It was a joke. We do a lot of things here, but welcome to Champ Talk. So Jordan, I got to ask this right off the jump. What is your last name?
Ray.
It is Ray.
Yeah, Ray, R-A-Y.
Yeah, because as I was introducing you, I was like, you know what? I don't know if that's his real last name or if that's like his social media name or whatever. Yeah. So I had to ask you.
That's funny.
I wanted you on here because obviously the introduction, I admire you and have a lot of respect for you. We've done some business together, some work together. But what I really find that people need to know about you is a lot of your services that you provide. In addition to, I think what's cool about you, man, is like I know where you stand when it comes to values, right? Like you never jammed anything down anybody's throat. I don't hear. You're not waving a flag of peace, love, and Bob Dylan. This is how you should be. You're just a great guy, simple guy, a driven person, but your values are just like you scream that you have like a certain level, a standard, and a certain code that you live by. You know what I mean? You want to talk about that at all? That
man.
What you stand for in your brand and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's big. I'll go personal. Removing company out of it. I think the first thing first is just being able to put myself first in the sense that I'm providing myself all that I need, whether that's what I'm giving to my body, intake food-wise, or consuming on a daily way of media and all these things that are outside of ourselves. For me, I just had to make sure that I'm giving myself everything I need. That's always first. And then after that, it's just making sure that whoever I impact or whoever I come in contact with, I at least try to impact them in a positive way. And then that is like laying the ground for everything else that happens after that. Because I think for me, what I found over my journey is that my true purpose is helping people and inspiring them. So whatever that looks like, it can mean a plethora of different things, but I feel like that's why I'm here on this earth, and that's kind of where my morals lead to.
So basically what you're saying is that everything that you do, whether it be taking care of yourself, whether it be in your entrepreneur and your businesses, whether it be just being an all-around supportive person, I guess stems from the aspect of servitude. And
100%.
You're serving people, you're serving your community, you're serving your companies, you're just service
100%.
driven.
Yeah, because I could have all the things that I want in the world, but what does that mean if I can't help someone, you know? So that's where I feel like I'm driven towards, man, every single day.
Absolutely.
Every single day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So tell us, you just made a career shift.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it's career shift, but you made a job shift. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so here recently, I just resigned from Inspire One Group. I was there for 3 years as executive vice president. And that was a decision that when I thought announcing it, I thought it was going to be a lot harder than it really was, but it was more so a release, you know? For those who don't know about Inspire One Group is a multi-form media and communications outlet. So we specialize in the television station, radio network, and magazine publishing. And we also had the event center downtown, not downtown, but off of 13.
Yeah.
And we hosted events there and things of that nature. So that was an incredible journey amongst the way. We met some great people and helped a lot of people in the same way. And, you know, I thought it was going to be hard, like I said, you know, announcing it. But here I am now, and it's just, I'm looking forward to the collaboration that's going to come after it. Although I'm not there in that position, it doesn't have to stop there, you know? So we're still connecting the dots on seeing how we can help each other. And just experiencing that in another way is super cool. I feel like I'm at a place in life where the theme is almost new cycle, trying new things and seeing what works.
Are you saying new cycle or news cycle?
New cycle.
New cycle.
New cycle. Yeah, I feel like everything's just evolving into what it's supposed to be.
Dude, it's awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, usually when someone leaves a company and goes and does their own thing or goes on to the next venture, they rarely ever give a plug out to the company that they left.
Yeah.
So I think that speaks volumes to to where your journey's leading you to, and to obviously the way that you went about it and the way that the essential breakup was. Was more of a parting ways than a breakup. And you don't see that often. You don't see that kind of shift when you have, especially somebody in a high position that you were in, leave and part ways and still have a great relationship, still be friends, still do all that. So what are you doing now?
Yes. So,
and let me cut you off for. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ask that question. I also want to acknowledge the fact that it can be a real big release. Sometimes because a lot of times what we do is we put a lot of pressure on ourselves when we make big decisions or when we part ways from somebody that. I'm sure you've grown a lot with that company. I'm sure that they taught you a lot. I'm sure you learned a lot along the way. It can be so like much more than what it has to be. And I think that's why people get so, butthurt and so ego driven and stuff like that, because at the end of the day, you're people feel like you're leaving me. You're moving on, and ultimately I think that's what as entrepreneurs and as leaders that we should make other people leaders and entrepreneurs and go off to better and greater things. So again, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
What are you doing now?
No, I was just going to piggyback onto that, man. You mentioned, just giving kudos to the company and things of that nature. I almost look at it in this analogy, right? You have a road, and then you always have a destination at the end of it. You might be going the same exact place. It might just be taking a different route. All in all, we're still driving next to each other. We're still helping people fill up their gas as much as we can. But it's just a different route. That's all it is.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, man.
Cool. So what is this? Where does this venture? Where did that lead you to? Where are you at now? Tell us about what you're doing right now.
Yeah. Well, for the past few years, I've been deeply in tune with really finding ways on how I can give back. And parts of that is starting a nonprofit called Young Visionaries Program, which is a 6-month program tailored towards high school students, which provides them education techniques on entrepreneurship, self-awareness techniques. And then at the end of the program, they get funding for their business. They have a formulated business plan and all those things attached to it. And then they get sent off to where they want to go and try new things in their life, whether that's running a business, trying a new service, or whatever it is. So this program, I'm very excited for what it's going to look like and the different collaborations and connections that we're building along the way. And it's very exciting, very exciting. That's where I'm at now.
That's incredible. So basically, what I'm understanding is that you're taking young entrepreneurs, you're basically taking them under your wing. You're providing them training. You're providing them insight, direction, guidance. You're helping probably, and correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, you're pulling more of their vision out of them to put more of it in a real place, make it more real, kind of have a little bit more of a structure where you're going on, and then you're getting these people funding to go start their own businesses. Yeah,
100%. And it's that ideation process, just trying to figure out what it is that you want to do.
Sure.
Sometimes that could be a tricky thing. I think young individuals have plenty of potential. They just have to see it's possible. Mm-hmm. So that's where we come in, is just kind of teaching them different things and how to try it and see what works for them. And then along that process, they have mentors along their side to make sure that they're making the best decisions throughout it, And then I'm sure you know this as well, like business can be stressful at times. So in knowing that, we also want to provide them techniques from our qualified mental health instructors. They come in and teach them techniques on how to do therapy or how to meditate, how to journal, and be okay with the feelings that arise over time. Because I just think, as any entrepreneurship, that's very important, of just being in tune with yourselves. So throughout the whole 6 months, we're just giving them lessons on that throughout it, and then making sure that, they have all the tools that they need.
So really, it's not about necessarily the business side of it and the quote unquote vision, as much as it's about how to probably prepare yourself and how to arm yourself with the proper techniques to deal with the stresses of entrepreneurship and the stresses of business. Yeah. So that's through the mental mindfulness work.
Mindfulness,
and that's all that stuff that you got going on.
Yeah. So because going back, I think parts of running a business can also be like finding yourself. Mm-hmm.
I'd agree to that. Yeah.
Hardships. We all have challenges. There's also good times that you experience. So there's a plethora of different emotions that we experience as business owners. But you might have been for me, I can say, going back 10 years, I'm not where I thought I would be, Mm-hmm. So that's a journey of me finding myself along this thing called entrepreneurship. So we want to let the kids know that that's okay, just trying new things and seeing what works for them. So all in all, whether the students take a business and they run off with it and turn it into like a 6-figure type company, or it might just be them getting inspired to try something else in another area, So that's pretty cool. What we're looking forward to see.
Dude, that's pretty awesome, man. I was unaware of that, that was the model that you went towards. Mm. I knew you were helping out people to get their businesses started, but to take it to the deep levels like that, you know what I mean? I think that's a very missed part when you're talking to people with businesses, because you said, business ownership and entrepreneurship can be stressful. What are you talking about? It's never stressful, right? No, dude, entrepreneurship is the hardest thing I've ever done. Yeah. It is so fucking hard. And people think, including myself, when we go into it, that we're going to start this business, that we know challenges are going to be ahead of ourselves, but we're going to, it's going to make sense because, if we get X, that's going to be plus Y, and that's going to equal Z, and it's just going to work out that way. And, take the gym membership business, in here we think that, oh, well, if I've got X amount of hundreds of students, man, times, bop a month, that's going to be this return. And, you get into it, you don't realize so many other parts to that. Then, if we get X amount of students, but what about the whole if, you know what I mean? Because there's so much powered into the marketing, so much powered into the, just keeping up with the consistency of keeping your brand consistent, keeping the service, keeping the people that are in there. It's so much. And that's just the gym industry alone. Or the MMA world. I couldn't imagine so many other details and intricacies that most business owners go through. Yeah. And I think what happens is to piggyback off you, you know what I mean? People they don't see where they're at in the amount of time that they thought they were going to be, and they view that as a fail. Yeah, yeah. And they think that, oh man, well, I'm not making however much money a year, by my second year of business ownership, you know what I mean? Oh, I must be doing something wrong. On to the next one. You know what I mean? And I think that's very incredible and pivotal that you are fostering that. Because people miss that. They miss it so much, especially, and I don't even think it's like the younger generation in your 20s. I think if you're under 40, like right now, if you're like under 40 years old, you're kind of teetering with the fact that you grew up in a different world, right? Yeah. So, for instance, like the lunch table nowadays that we used to grow up on is now your group chat. Yeah. You know what I mean? Now it's your your DMs. You see what I'm saying? And when you talk about like cyberbullying and stuff like that, a lot of people my age are like, cyberbullying. I was really had my head flushed down the toilet, and you know what I mean? It's like it's just different because there's so much social aspects and constructs that go to that. That really leads people down kind of rabbit holes of depression and anxiety and all these weird thoughts. But to go back to my point, I think where you have that world and that generation growing up wanting to be business owners, they don't understand. Like, dude, 10 years, you're just becoming an expert. 20 takes you mastery level. You know what I mean? What else do you do? You do more than that. You know what I mean?
So I work for the City of Salisbury within the mayor's office as their media specialist.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that's keeping me busy every single day, and I love the experience. Every day is different. And I'm also able to give back to my community in many different ways and meet new people. So it's a fun journey, and I truly do enjoy it.
I can imagine that being in that world, you're probably leveling up by proxy alone. Just by the people that you're around, the conversations that you're probably kind of falling into or hearing. The way that everyone's kind of people shit on politics a lot. And personally, you know what I mean? I can see why. Because I don't think it's a politic issue. I think it's a leadership issue, and I think it's a money issue. But that's another champ talk that we can dive deep in that, and I'd rather not. But what I think is people like shit on politics a lot, and back in the day, a political position was a very reputable and honorable position, right? And I still think that you have that. You know what I mean? Like whenever you talk politics, you always hear the negative side. You never hear the positive side, and that's how human beings are wired. But being in those rooms, I mean, let's face it, those conversations that are being had are about everybody's problems. As they funnel up into one place, and politicians are expected to figure out everybody's problems. So I can only imagine just being in that space daily, how much you're getting and learning for yourself to kind of help you with your business, to help you with other things that you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Do you have anything that you can elaborate on that aspect?
100%. It's truly an immense amount of knowledge that's happening every single day that I'm taking every day. Parts of it is just understanding the city departments and their functions. Because if you think about it,
that's a good point.
We have waterworks, we have field operations, Department of Infrastructure and Development. We have a number of departments that literally run the city. So when they're dealing with their projects or problems, they always come to our office. So we're on the forefront of seeing everything that's happening to make sure that before it goes out to public, that it's okay. We're making sure that we're understanding their problems, our constituents, and hearing what their needs are and wants. So within all of that, I just want to follow back as to understanding each departmental function. That has been an incredible experience for me personally, because from the outside looking in, it just some things you just don't really think about, And I'm going to go back to what you were saying about how sometimes people can be frustrated about politics. I think parts of that is sometimes ignorance can lead to frustration. You can sometimes it's easy to get mad at what you just don't know.
I agree. It's a great point.
So I think that's parts of it. We can go back to that another time. But within all of that, just seeing how the departments run and truly understanding what the people need, that can happen in many different ways. But hearing from them is also another way of just learning about where are we missing? What do we need to fill? What are some gaps that we need to kind of come in place with our departments and seeing what we can do to come together? So if that answered your question, it's every day is different. Every day is truly different. So there might be something that you just got to be ready to hop up on your feet and keep going,
No, that was a great insight, great perspective, and I couldn't agree even more. You know what I mean? Like, ignorance will lead to anger and frustration and pointing the fingers. And you know, forgive me if I ask this, but does Jordan see a future in politics?
Well, I've thought about it. I've thought about it in many different ways, and at this time, I would say we shall see. I say that because for me personally, I like to take in all the information. You know, as we're talking about understanding departments, understanding city functions, before I ever considered it, I want to understand the knit and grits.
Sure.
100%. And I'm not there yet.
Well, you know, I love that answer. Because you didn't rule it out and you didn't commit to it, and you humbly came at it from a place of, you know, hey, we'll see, I'm not there yet. What with your values and with your servitude, it does only make sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that's awesome, man. I think that's something really. If there was a pathway for you, you're on the right direction.
Thank you,
know
man.
What I mean? So that's pretty cool. You're correct me if I'm wrong. You came from a very religious church family.
I did, actually.
And your dad a reverend?
He was a pastor.
Excuse me.
Yeah, my dad was a pastor for up until, I'd say, roughly 2013.
Okay.
Yeah, and I used to love going to church. Well, for the aspect of playing the drums or bass guitar. It was just a good time being able to be on stage with my mom, my brother, sometimes sister.
Yeah.
And then just a communion after church. You know, we'd all get together, have a good time with family, friends, and then sometimes might even go have dinner at the house with someone else who was from the church. So that was a great experience.
That's that old school church, man. That's that old school church days.
Yeah.
The old school church days is you went in there, you went to church, you had some fun. I mean, of course, you know what I mean? I know a lot of the churches that you might go to were like all day, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Some of the churches I go to, we're out by football, you know what I mean? But either way, it was such a great time because, you know, you got the, well, you know, some people went to church and it was like, you're going to hell if you don't do this and do that, right? I've been to those churches. There's other churches that when you go, it's almost like a celebration.
It's a celebration.
You know what I mean? It's and but again, then you go afterwards, and you guys eat, you guys get together, and you end up meeting, you know, going to somebody's house later on or play some sports or whatever. It's just you could see why it has the impact that it has. Minus just the preaching and minus just the word of God, you know what I mean? Or wherever you believe in. You know, I'm not anti anything.
But no, that's big, man. You mentioned, you know, it had to be this way or got to be that way. And I think that could be sometimes a restriction from those just questioning of what they want to do to going. But I think for when I was going, we were non-denominational. So it was very open.
Yeah.
Very open, arms wide open. And that's part of why I loved it. You know, it was just good being able to be yourself.
Well, God don't want the goody goodies.
Right.
He wants the sinners.
Yeah, like, come on.
He's already worked on the goody goodies. You know what I mean?
They're good.
Well, if anything, this is cool. We're going to go a little faith-based. It's not God does not want the goody goodies. It's the goody goodies, the people who's gotten their faith in line, the people that have gotten their, you know, their calling through Christ. It's the devil that wants them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The devil's fighting for them equally enough. You know what I mean? So that, church is based upon the sinners, based upon the regular people. And you see that, I've seen that shift in my lifetime where, you know, we said, look, we gotta chill with the suits and the, you know, damning everybody because they farted in church. You know, we gotta start having people, you know, come in here and we want to welcome. How much of an impact has your upbringing, you know, and your father been on how you view entrepreneurship and servitude?
One big, huge impact. I think I contribute most of my success to my parents and, you know, my grandmother and my grandfathers. And I think one of the things that, you know, they instilled in me was to have respect for others. And that could look like a number of things, whether that's being a man of your word or having an open ear to listen to people and being able to don't always talk while they're talking and things of that nature is really guided me into the person I am today, and also work ethic. I've always seen my mother and my father just out and go and get it without complaining. You know, if there's a need, they found a way to fulfill it. So that was parts of the journey, and I'm looking back, and let's just kind of go another generation too, actually. My great-grandfather, he was the first black farm owner in Vienna, Maryland.
Wow.
And that I contribute a lot
Did
of.
you say your grandfather or your great-grandfather?
Great-grandfather.
Wow.
Yeah,
So we're talking about a different time.
Yeah, different time. So
Wow.
entirely different time.
So that's an incredible. People don't understand.
That's not
incredible,
common.
Correct. That's a credible accomplishment.
Yeah.
Especially, especially around here.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
Maryland is the middle state, so we're not south, we're not north.
Yeah.
But it's more south than it is north.
Yeah.
If you ask people, across the border. But incredible. I'm sorry. Keep going. I'm just
No,
very
you're good.
impressed,
You're
very
fine.
impressed by
So
that.
yeah, my great grandfather and my great grandmother, they were very involved in the community, and just hearing stories about how they were and what they were doing, it just pushed me to want to do something similar in a different way, and I think it just kind of trickled down into the rest of our family members, how we all kind of have those morals, those values of just trying to care for people, and I think that's what's helped my entrepreneurship journey as well.
Yeah, because in that day they had a lot of reason to be bitter.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? And then
100%.
they also had a lot of reason to pass that bitterness and that lack of trust down generation after generation. I think you see that in so many different cultures.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's just not an uncommon thing where, dude, it's always somebody who is the enemy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Clearly what happened with, American history and, how, African Americans have been, treated obviously is a little bit different than, somebody in another different kind of ethnicity that comes in but everybody has their own battles and own scars. You know what I mean? And then the other side of that is it's just there's always a new shift of people that we have to be afraid of, or we have to be scared of, or we're inferior about. You know what I mean? You know, after 9/11, you saw Middle Eastern descent, becoming a lot of the stereotypical and discriminative. You've seen Asians like Chinese Americans, or Chinese descendants, Japanese descendants, they had the stuff going on with them way back in the day. Then you had, the Latino community with all the border stuff was it. Now that, the gay community, the trans community, there's always somebody that we got to throw in the cycle to be able to say, hey, beware. What I mean? And, we just had the elections, last week. And, regardless of if your person won or your person lost, we all had to go to work the next day. You know what I mean? We all, we could sit here and have way too many political views, way too many differences and all that. We still going to see each other and have to coexist. And that's the beautiful part about America. That's the beautiful part about community, man. It's like, I don't want fucking people that agree with me all the time. I want to be in a room where people have opposing perspectives, or something that we could. But I also want people that are open to maybe their perspective might be opposing, but it's maybe not be the right one for the situation, or maybe mine as well, or maybe there's other sides to it. So it's like, trying to have this thought process that we're all going to just have it one way thinking is, I think in slavery in itself. It's a form of trapping you and a form of converting you into a way of thinking that is more, institutionalized, more systematized and things like that. We need to be different.
And I think that's one of the best parts about a democracy is that we have the opportunity to have difference of opinions leading to a better result. I think there's a quote of Abraham Lincoln. He said, if there's someone and I don't like them, I want to figure out the why. Because within that, you might find things that you can relate with each other with, or you might have just liked them because someone else said something else, but remove the dislike or the like. Being able to have the ability to try to understand someone, even when you don't agree with them, it can almost result in a better project or whatever it is that you're working on, because they might have had an idea that worked well. You might have an idea, bring the two together, and then you have magic.
Absolutely.
It doesn't happen all the time, but at least having the willingness to ask questions, I think, is very important, or just have your own opinion,
Yeah, because no matter what, we learn something from everybody. There's nobody that we don't learn from. There's no situation, especially if you're insightful, and especially if you look inside of you, you're going to learn something. You know what I mean? I was talking to somebody last week and I'm like, dude, everything in my life has a position and a place. Even if I'm driving down the highway, even something as minor as the telephone poles that I'm passing, I might not even be looking at them or focusing on them, but they're in my peripheral vision. I never said that word right.
Yeah.
Maybe you can help me.
Peripheral.
There we go. I only have a college education, so bear with me. But even if they're in my peripheral vision, and even if they're very insignificant in the way of thinking, it has a place. It has a meaning.
Yeah.
I told somebody, like, dude, I learned from every single person, even the bum on the street, you know what I mean? Or the drug addict. It's, talking gibberish. There is something that person can teach me. Might not be everything, might not be significant or insignificant, but there's something I can learn from everybody. Because, none of us have it all. None of us have this roadmap of life figured out.
No.
There's no legend. There's no key. There's only some suggestions. And other than that, you got to figure out how to survive out here in this jungle. You know what I mean? And that's just the way it works. You do some what kind of work do you do for the city? Like what does your job actually entail? What can we see of your job?
Yeah. So my title is media specialist, media and event specialist actually, and my day-to-day can vary in many different tasks, but essentially it's getting information out to the community and our employees as well. So what that looks like is writing press releases, managing the social media and or website, attending meetings to ensure that I'm taking minutes and understanding everything that's going around. So yeah, if you ever go on the social media platform of the City of Salisbury, the zoo, anything that is city ran is coming out of our office.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Do they get any kind of videography from you?
Yes.
Because you've done that a lot, and that's what I was kind of leading into.
Yes.
You've done some of our shots for the gym, and you've done a lot of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So do you still do that on the side?
100%.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
so you'll still do what? Pictures, videos?
Yeah.
Talk about that venture for me.
Yeah, for sure, man. So I'm still pursuing Jordan Ray Productions. We just opened a studio downtown Salisbury, which is really exciting.
Congratulations.
And we're doing full-fledged podcasting, photography, and video production in there. But also we do work with corporate companies. And
you hear that? Give in the box. We've got your replacement right here. Right here. You hear that? Give in the box. All right. You better keep doing good because we got Jordan Ray on here. I'm so awful, dude. This is probably the opposite of what kind of you thought they're going. But hey, man, welcome to my jungle.
I'm here.
Awesome. So you do podcasting. You do what else you do? You got, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. Corporate commercials, music videos, documentaries, and things of that nature. Keeps me going.
I love it, man. I love it. So where's the studio located?
Right on the east, on Plaza East building.
Okay.
So if you're familiar in downtown Salisbury,
I know where Dead Stock was.
Same exact building, 5th floor.
Yep. Okay, so you're inside the building. That's a great building. That's
floor,
a really great
If anyone knows, Mogan's, if you want to stop by, you can get some good dinner afterwards, and or you can stop by Two Scoops and get some ice cream before you come on up. But yeah, it's all around good vibe, and everyone on the floor is nice people. And I'm going to give a shout out to Brett Davis, for offering the space. We've been knowing each other for a while now, and it was just a good connection there, so we made it happen.
Brett is an awesome dude, man. Brett's one of those guys that you would never know just how awesome and how good he is at what he does, because he's very humble, he's very chill, very funny. And he just kind of come out of the nowhere.
He's not forward facing either. He's just in his zone and gets it going.
Yep. He gets it done, man. I like Brett a lot. I think he's a great guy, and maybe I'll contact him and get him on here. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Just thinking about that. Yeah, shout out to Brett, man. Yeah, that's awesome, man. So how long have you had the studio?
Oh man, it's been 2 months now.
Has it really?
So we moved in September 4th.
Okay.
Yeah, and
is this your first studio?
No, well, if you want to consider the space over on the Atkins Business Center, Inspire One, I'd consider that another studio as well. But this is more so focus-driven studio. So
Got it.
I guess so. Yeah.
I'd
say so.
And where do you see Jordan Ray Productions going in the next 5 years? Like, what's the vision for that?
Yeah. In the next 5 years, I'm very excited. I'm gonna pause this for a second because all right. Yeah, very excited for this, man, because we have some new deals and contracts that are coming up where we're able to go ahead and produce our stuff on national television.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's a big thing of ours.
Congratulations, bro.
Thank you, man.
Wow.
Yeah, we're kind of transitioning into focus on television series and full-form documentaries.
Yeah.
Something that is coming new, I'll tell you that you can be on the lookout here soon, is we have been filming a documentary for some time now on indigenous people, truly understanding their culture here and their presence on the Eastern Shore. So that's going to be big, and it's going to be aired on many different well-known platforms. So yeah, and the journey in the grand scheme of 5 years is I'm looking to provide opportunities for those really trying to get started, college students, high school students as well, but providing them a space where they can actually pursue what they want to do, but also learn along the way. So we have internships available. Let's see, we have workshops that we're very excited. We do a workshop once a month where we bring together people, and there's different themes attached to the workshop. So for one example, maybe we have one and we teach everything lighting, and ticketed events and things of that nature. So we're excited for those workshops, and yeah, there's a lot down the pipeline.
Dude,
there truly is.
I don't think the average person listening to this or watching this understands the magnitude of what you're providing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know our guy behind the camera right now can probably relate to what you're saying right now, because people think that you get a camera or think you get a video, what do they call them? Do they call them camcorders still? What
Camera.
Camera, video. All right, I'm so old. I'm like, you want a
Send them a
videotape
camera.
me?
It depends, whatever. Yeah.
People think they can get a camera and shoot some video and that they can be a videographer, they can produce content, or they can do all these things. And there's so much that the average person doesn't know or know what they're getting into. And I don't think people realize, and they will after this podcast, the magnitude of the services and the opportunity you're providing, both with Jordan Ray and does the 501c3, the nonprofit, does that coincide with each other?
They do actually.
So now you're not only providing these opportunities with your personal brand and personal business, but you're also being able to get it funded and get things, get a machine behind that.
Yeah.
And then, dude, the greatest thing that I love about all this shit, right? Like the fucking fact that you're theoretically teaching your competition.
In a sense, yeah.
And if anybody understands about marketing or understands about entrepreneurship, understands about leadership, understands about giving back, is your mindset is wired of abundance, not scarcity, where you don't even care that they're going to take what you can do and apply it and even be better than you down the road, because you see the abundantly thinking that you're going to be blessed regardless.
My standpoint is I don't believe in competition.
I'm with you.
I think what gravitates towards you is what's meant to be. And if it's not, whether that's a client or whatever, then that's fine. But I just want to help people, you know? I think we can create some imagine a huge project based out of Salisbury. This is an exciting example. But all videographers come together, photographers, models, but come together from Salisbury, and we made something huge.
Everybody eats.
It doesn't even have to be in Salisbury, but just the idea of coming together, I think, can result in bigger workload, more effort put into something, because I'm sure we've all experienced it where you're working hard, you want to do it all yourself, and then you're drained at the end of it. Yeah. So I just want to let everyone else be able to experience parts of that as well.
Brother, if they could see how your face just acted when you said that, your voice inflection changed.
Yeah.
When you said what you just said, your whole everything got so dialed in right now. Because that means you so unapologetically believe what you say, and you live by it. And I think that puts this show full circle. Is, you grew up, in a faith-based household. You were inspired by, leaders and hardworking people that inspired generations to come, right? And surpassed unmeasurable odds, right? You were a grinder, no matter what. Not on Grinder. You were a person who grinds day in, day. I mean, you used to work at Pohanka, Salisbury. That's a hard job. Like, people don't understand how hard car sales is, right?
You're essentially a business owner, man.
Yes, sir. So you've been through this person, this place, that person, that job, this connection, and you've paid your dues and left. To my understanding, on all great notes and handshake goodbyes. And then now you're venturing off. You've got your foot in the door with the City of Salisbury, and you have to be so involved and so educated on what's going on with them. You've got your foot in the door with them. On top of, you've got a nonprofit that helps catapult your own business, your own studio. You know what I mean? Let's look at it for what it is, dog. Like, you're really like in a city space type of environment where, people leave here to go to be.
Yeah, yeah.
You know that, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you're literally downtown.
Yeah.
One Plaza is one of the most historic buildings that we have, right? That used to be a hotel, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you know all the history. There used to be a band or a bar
downstairs.
Understand? Yeah, I think it was called Jean Pierre's. Is that right?
I'm not sure the name, but it definitely
Jimmy's.
was downstairs.
One of them, right? So now you're living out, some of the things you do, the connections that you made, and that's why I wanted to have you on here so bad. But what's happening is everything's coming full circle on your journey and how every step, every hurdle, every roadblock, every bump has brought you to this moment of your life right now. And you're still saying, nah, we ain't where we need to be.
No.
I want to connect everybody. I want to unite everybody.
Yeah.
And you're willing to make the sacrifices and be the person out front to do that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you understand, and I'm sure you do, but that is so lonely.
Yeah.
That's a lonely place to be.
It is.
Leadership is very lonely, and people don't understand that. People want leadership so they can be, a lot of people want leadership so they can be in front of everybody and be the guy, be the gal. And they don't real leaders don't tell you about how lonely it is.
Yeah.
Because it's only you with your thoughts. It's only you with your vision. And it's only you that every time you make a failure or a bad mistake or a big change or whatever, that you have to stay with that mindset. And only you get through that.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean we don't have our support system. That doesn't mean we don't have faith. That doesn't mean we don't have the things and the resources that we have.
Yeah.
But people do not understand that being on that island alone is tough.
It's a lonely
And the
road.
fact that you're able to sit here and go through have all these experiences, all these core values, just like I said from the beginning, you just, you exhume, a high standard for yourself. You exhume servitude and leadership. And then you're sitting here still saying, hey, I still want to unite. I'm willing to give my competition the leg up, all the insight, all the plugs, because I believe that I'm going to be blessed in the end. I think that speaks volumes about you, Jordan. I think that means just so much. And I hope that our listeners and our viewers can understand how important and special you really are, because you're really a blessing to this area, brother.
Thank you,
You really
man.
are, man.
Thank you.
I'm blessed to know you.
Yeah.
And to have the relationship that we've had. But just hearing all this stuff and knowing all this stuff is incredible, man.
Thank you, man. Yeah, it's been a long journey. Like I said, if I was 10 years ago, I never think I'd be here where I'm at now. And to those listening, if you're at a place where you're just not comfortable with, it's okay. Sit with it. Let that motivate you to where you want to go. Start journaling and writing down things, or figure out whatever works for you in your own way. Just start jotting down things where you want to go. And then also know that when you get there, you might want something else. So find ways. For me, like, I just have to be able to sit down for a second, and be like, all right.
Get some white space.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. And it's hard moving so fast. You got so many things going on in your day-to-day life that it's hard to do it. But if I don't, I might crash. So I just, contribute to that. Anyone listening, just try to find some time for yourself amongst your journey, and know that it's okay where you are.
That's awesome, man. So I'll have to ask just one last question. I know you got your 5-year plan. I know you got your vision for that, but where is Jordan in his mind? What is that? What is the greatest version or the most elite version of Jordan look like, and you're striving to get to? You know what I mean? Like, tell me about that guy. What is this? What can we all expect to see when you hit that feat on what that looks like? Jordan Ray, the man that's been through so much, who's overcome so much, who's accomplished so much, who's steadily, and I understand, man, you've been at the grind, you've been at the helm for 10 years. What's the most elite version of Jordan look like?
I think that's right now.
Ooh.
And I say that because when I get to that 5 years from now, it's going to be right then and there. I can't really look 5 years later and say, I should hit the gym every single day. And I can, but I think all I have in control is right now. In this world, in the day-to-day, it's easy for society to get caught up in the linear time frame of life. It's last night I ate this for dinner, or I remember 5 years ago I was dating that one girl, or, there's so many different things that correlate to time that I think it prevents us from living in the moment. And that's something that I'm trying to get in tune with as much as I can, because I as business owners, we look forward to the future and got a plan, but then it's easy to overlook the now. So I'm going to answer that question with saying right now, because I'll give you an analogy. Say you were like, remember that time 10 years ago? And we were just sitting in the room or whatever. I made this decision that led down, whatever. It was a decision that you made 10 years ago. And that idea 10 years ago changed your whole path, right? But within that 10 years, there are thousands of different moments that got you to where you are then. So I just think there's a lot of things that's gonna happen unexpectedly. I know where I want to go, but it's also just being okay with where I'm at right now. I think I'm pretty cool, man. Yeah, I do.
You just dropped a bomb on that one. If this was on Funk's Master Flex back in the day, he'd have been dropping them bombs. That was an incredible answer, man. Man, I'm just, dude. I'm so thankful that you decided to come on our show and decided to do this, man. I knew it was going to be a banger. I knew that we were going to talk about some good stuff, and I really tried to do my homework and try to be prepared to ask you the right things.
You definitely did.
Well, thank you, because I really wanted people to know and see the side of you that I've seen, and I learned a lot about you today myself. So I'm so grateful that you came on, and man, I just love you, brother. I'm always going to be a supporter.
Thank you.
You know
man.
what I mean? And I'm tickled to death to watch your journey and watch you crush life and just. I think I'll tell you again, man, you're a blessing to this area, and you're definitely impacting this whole community so much. Lastly, where can we find you? Tell our listeners where we can find you, how we can get up to with you, if we got somebody interested in wanting to get into the business or do whatever, drop some links and some ads.
Yeah. I mean, you can search me, find me anywhere, Jordan Ray. My name is spelled normal with an A, Jordan. Last name Ray, R-A-Y.
Yep.
Personal social media is on Instagram is Jordan Ray 4. And then if you'd like to check out any of my production stuff, it's Jordan Ray Productions. If you're interested in learning more about the nonprofit Young Visionaries Program, it's that exactly, Young Visionaries Program, and you can find it anywhere on Facebook and or Instagram. As for the website, same exact thing. So any questions or you just want to learn more, check them out, and we're always here to help you out.
And if you can't find them there, I got a cell phone number, so you can contact me.
There you go.
Well, man, that'll do it for our episode of Champ Talk with Branden Hudson. Man, this has been a huge honor and a blessing to have Jordan Ray here, man. And I hope that you guys, the listeners, got some value from this. I know if you did, you're hitting that like button, you're subscribing, you're passing it, you're sharing it, you're doing what you need to do. But that'll wrap us up with another episode with Champ Talk with Branden Hudson. Jordan, thank you so much for being a part of this. Guys, what are you doing today to become a champion?